My name is Mike Nelson, perhaps best known in the DCD community as Dyspraxic Sing Song Mike. As a fitness enthusiast, I've been hosting free online fitness workouts on behalf of Dyspraxic Help for You under the banner of Dyspraxic Fitness since 2020. It was after having been diagnosed in my teens with dyspraxia that I sought to raise awareness and support others also living with a hidden disability. Starting a family, holding down employment, and then becoming a homemaker naturally took precedence. Voices in the dyspraxia community got louder after the outbreak of the pandemic, and it became evident more than ever that dyspraxic people were struggling both mentally and physically. Joining me on this podcast will be other dyspraxic fitness fanatics, dyspraxic sports people, and attendees from my dyspraxic workouts to discuss living with dyspraxia and how they embrace keeping fit with a lifelong hidden disability. Before we proceed with the episode, we would like to invite you to attend our twice weekly online dyspraxic workouts. For more information, please follow Dyspraxic Fitness on social media. On Facebook at Dyspraxic Fitness, on Instagram at Dyspraxic Fitness, and on Twitter at DH4U Fitness. Hi there, Mary. Thanks so much for coming along. How are you today?
I'm grand, and yourself, Mike?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Thanks so much for asking. So let's begin by finding out when you were officially or self-diagnosed with dyspraxia.
Well, I realised just not too long ago that I might have dyspraxia because I always knew since I was a child, like when I rush at things, I'd spill them or I'd break things if I wasn't looking where I was going, and I'd easily turn around on my foot and I could easily fall. Like my biggest wars came in terms of riding a bicycle. When I was only 5 years of age, my first dyspraxic accident came when I fell off a bicycle onto the tarmac and injured my two front teeth.
Oh, no.
And I had to have 2 rounds of surgery to repair my mouth, get implants, get them back a bit together. And the second time I was balancing myself on a bath and I fell off that and injured my teeth yet again. So my poor old teeth took a hit.
Oh, no. Bit unlucky then.
I was, and I realised like I was didn't have much road sense. I was delayed that way as well on the road. I'd go out in the middle of the road on the bike and not look where I was going. And I even fell over the handlebars of a bike once on the road and skinned my left hand when I was in 6th class.
Oh,
so I'd know if I was probably riding today, I'd be more careful. So I realised back then it took a bit longer to get the bike going properly. And another thing as well, I've noticed at school, when I was in secondary school, it took me a bit longer to write things down off the blackboard. I'd have to beg one of my classmates, can I have your copy, please? I can finish this. Or I could have request extra time off the teacher. And my exam technique wasn't good. No. My exam technique led to me not finish exams in time as well and writing them the way the teacher wanted them seen. So I was lucky for my state exams and any more exams. Once I realised this, that I asked them for extra time, and that's when I was able to fulfil my potential and go on and get my leaving cert in the top 10 and the best orals in the school. It was a secret, hush hush. And my degree in a Bachelor of Arts in Politics and English and Anthropology, my higher diploma in business studies, and my accountancy qualifications, which are accountant technician.
Wow. So how long ago was that you actually diagnosed, with your dyspraxia?
Well, I actually it was a friend that recognised it in me there about 2 years ago, because I was diagnosed with Asperger's in 2007 because I knew my social skills were very poor at school. I was delayed socially. I really, really struggled with making friends. That's the biggest struggle I've ever had, and clicking with people at the right time. And I ended up very, very lonely, and I was bullied severely as a result of being different and called names as well.
Oh, that's terrible, isn't it? When people, do get bullied just because they're maybe a little bit different to them.
Absolutely.
And it's just really not not ideal, is it? When people are saying, bullying, because, I mean, kids even these days can be mean to each other.
Very, very mean.
So what do you struggle most with on a day-to-day basis, as a consequence of obviously having the hidden disability?
Well, on a day-to-day basis, I have to watch. I have to be careful because if I rush things, I'm like a headless chicken. Like I can leave things somewhere and forget where I left them. Also, I can my working memory, and also when I'm making a cup of coffee or if I'm doing anything, I could easily spill if I rush things, or I could leave things behind. That's the kind of thing. And like in terms of work, I'd need to ask the employer, can I write down my tasks in the book so that I won't ever forget them again, and write down not only the tasks but instructions as well.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, the same with me. If I find that I rush things, I do
Yes.
get things muddled up, and you can have the consequence of dropping things, and yeah, it's just turns into a massive accident, doesn't it?
Yeah.
At the end of
Um,
the day.
Mike,
Yes.
there's another interesting thing as well. When I was in PE, I was really, really poor at football and basketball because there were team sports, and my interactive skills played a role there as well. I found I'm much better at one-to-one sports, particularly badminton and tennis and pool. And I
Hmm.
realised I lacked balance when I was in aerobics. I enjoyed aerobics, but I couldn't keep up, with the mainstream aerobics video I was doing on Sean T. And I found I couldn't keep up in terms of dance, and I was out of sync as well.
Oh no, and that is something that us dyspraxics unfortunately struggle with sometimes. With coordination and syncing in time and music and so
Yes,
forth.
that's
But
it. That's
we
it.
get there. We give it a good shot, don't we? Really, at the end of the day. So
Absolutely.
obviously, at school, did you enjoy taking part in PE, or was it kind of one of those things that you kind of dreaded, from doing kind of thing from it's one of your subjects at school?
Well, I'll tell you, I didn't mind PE because I was good at one-to-one sports such as badminton, tennis table, or ping pong, as you call it in the UK or the
Hmm.
States, snooker and pool, badminton, tennis. I was also good at volleyball and hockey. I enjoyed those. And I enjoyed doing a bit of gymnastics. An example came like I got a bit I was doing the horse, trying to jump over the horse, and I fell flat and injured my boobs when I was 13.
Oh
So
no.
that's another thing where I didn't watch where I was going, or I darted a bit. And also, the only times I hated PE was when I had to do sports that required interactive skills, because my
Yeah.
interactive skills were poor.
Yeah.
And probably I thought that was down to the Asperger's, because when I was 14 at school, I was reading women's magazines. That's where I learned some social skills and got a gist of real life. And one woman had Asperger's, and God of Almighty, she had the same symptoms as me as a girl: stubborn, very poor interactive skills, very, very behaviorally challenged. Well, not very behaviorally challenged, mildly behaviorally challenged, that teachers couldn't pick up at school, kind of.
Oh, totally. And it is quite tricky, even to today, that
It
people
is.
don't seem to pick up on what people are going through, and then all of a sudden under that diagnosis, then they've actually got something to work with. But up until that point, really, they don't really have a clear understanding. They can see maybe something's a little bit wrong.
Mm, yes.
However, they don't quite know on how to tackle the situation, really. So which kind of just brings me to my next point, really. Do you think that your PE teachers were supportive of your disability, or do you think that they maybe just thought there's something wrong there and will just carry on doing it the way it is? Do you feel that you got supported at
Well,
all?
I just feel they didn't recognize I had a disability, like, because I'm so
Yeah.
lucky, I'm so subtle. People, by looking at me and just seeing me first, the teachers put down in my reports always that my interaction skills were very poor, and they told my mother that was all. But I feel like they didn't really flag me social difficulties and try and recommend programs to my mother that I could develop socially. That's what I wish I had. Like, for example, Mary, I'm worried about her social skills. That's what a teacher should do.
Yeah.
And I think Mrs. Kilbane, I think if you could look up a few programs for Mary, she could learn life skills and social skills. They knew my interaction skills were poor, but they just put that in my reports. Even during the
Yeah.
life skills course in the transition year, interactive skills are very poor.
Sure, sure. So, yeah, it's really quite difficult
It
sometimes,
is.
when interaction is tricky because not everyone, can interact with other people, and it's not a bad thing. But sometimes, as I say, we just have to work on it, don't we, really, and
Absolutely.
see if we
And
can try and get it better.
we need to be able to be accepted to do that as well, like, because I think the most dangerous forms of bullying out there are isolating, trying to get rid of someone because they don't fit the norm, alienating someone, talking about them behind their back, viewing them as incapable.
Oh,
Like, I
totally.
also had teachers going to my mother saying that poor Mary, that I'm concerned she's getting schooled very hard due to her social skills. I got that
Hmm.
as well.
Oh no,
Yeah.
but I guess that hopefully it got picked up, and if people were saying things, uh, to your mum and so forth, then hopefully that was enough to kickstart things into place, I
It did
guess.
for myself because I thought, right, when I went to college, I thought it would get better. And then I realized I still wasn't clicking with people, and I was still kind of making faux pas socially. So it was myself that got myself to how many doctors in Dublin. And some of them said there was nothing wrong with you, you're unique socially. Some of them said, I
Hmm.
don't think you've Asperger's. Some of you don't. If you had Asperger's, you wouldn't be able to look me in the eye properly. You wouldn't be as social as you are. And then it was after a very bad situation that I got diagnosed finally with Asperger's, but I knew that's why I was trying to become more aware that I could work on myself and make myself more appropriate socially and realize where I needed to mature.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yes.
So, just going back to kind of like sport games, I know we
Yes.
touched on it briefly earlier as well. But were you ever kind of picked last for like team sports?
Yes.
If you were, yeah.
I was picked
Um,
last for the basketball. I was picked last for the football. And when I was playing with football, I felt lost. I kept asking, please throw me the ball. Please throw me the ball. I'm here.
Yeah,
Yes.
it seems that a lot of people, a lot of my guests on here have
Yeah.
said similarly the same thing.
Yeah.
They get actually picked last,
Yes.
and I've said before, why do we get picked last? Where
Exactly.
they just look at you and go, okay, well, this is what's happening. So, maybe. If we pick them last, then they've got to go to one side or the other, and that can be where bullying
It is
all starts
bullying. It's
from.
kind of, it's very sad. It's like, or they can say, oh, that one is a freak. That one is a total weirdo. I want nothing to do with her. Like,
Yeah,
it's an awful
yeah,
thing to do to someone. Like, it's like I'd question the parents. The parents are the problem as well, feeding this stuff to the children as well.
yeah, and I think in our minds when we're kind of on the line and we're kind of waiting for people to basically see who we're going to get picked. We kind of know, don't we? We know that we're going to get picked, maybe last or very close to last. And it shouldn't be. They should treat people equally,
I
I
think they
think.
should and give people a chance, because how will we develop if, like, for example, when I saw a counsellor there, she said it's no wonder, like, when you face that level of bullying, you're not able to develop right, and that's where you're going to look very bad. But I think when people say we suffer from this and that, I think we suffer from their ignorance, their lack of understanding, their bad attitudes.
Oh, totally,
Yes.
totally. So, and we've maybe been picked last. It feels like a negative,
It
doesn't it?
feels like
Really,
you're just
but
useless. You're no good. Like, you're not good enough. Like, I felt an inferior complex throughout school, and I still struggle with a bit of it today. Sometimes I
yeah,
feel inferior when I see someone like NT that's up there, that's popular. I keep thinking, why couldn't I be popular? What could I do to be more popular?
yeah, yeah. It does make you feel like that,
It
doesn't it?
do, it makes
Really.
you feel very bad in yourself sometimes, and that's why your constant companion is low self-esteem and a lack of self-respect due to it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, totally.
Yeah.
So, so did negative, experiences during PE kind of deter you from embracing sport and fitness? When you left school, did you find that, as you left school, you thought, that's it, I'm not going to do anything like PE based or sport based? Or did you find that you just wanted to carry on and kind of have a go at some kind of sporting activities?
No, I find I'd never ever give up sporting activities or fitness, because I was always very fond of them. I always stuck with my one-to-one sports. I joined a tennis club when I was in Dublin. I
Hmm.
loved badminton. I still played that. And if I could look out for a club again, I still enjoyed my snooker and pool and table tennis. And I still had the great crack at the aerobics, even though my rhythm was out of sync. And I
No worries.
enjoy aqua aerobics in the swimming pool. So I'm going to
Fantastic.
look at learning to swim as well. I always had the fear of drowning, you see. That's why I felt
Oh
awkward
no.
in the swimming pool.
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
But I have to take my hat off to you, Mary, because I can't play badminton to save my life.
Well, I
uh,
I love
it's
badminton. Like I won in a team match. I won a prize for badminton. I won a doubles
yeah,
match and won in school and tennis as well. Yeah.
fantastic. That's great, and that's an achievement to be proud of. Particularly more as a dyspraxic, because for me, I see that little cocker, coming over, and I'm thinking I'm going to hit it. Lots of the time, I'm just going to hit thin air.
That's it.
It takes a skill to do that. So I do take my hat
I
off to you
taught
on
my
that
own
one.
mother to play pool as well. She couldn't
Oh, really?
hit a
And Paul
cue
as well.
ball until I taught her. Now she can pot them like there's no tomorrow.
Would I be thinking that she's now beating you at the games of pool then,
Well,
or?
almost.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah,
You have to keep your competition high, don't you?
exactly.
At the end of the day, but no, that's great that you've actually done that, because that's a lot of hand-eye coordination as well.
Yeah,
So fantastic that you're actually doing those, and badminton and tennis and things like that.
yes.
Quite tricky for someone with dyspraxia to actually do, but we do have our own little pockets, I
We
find,
do,
of
of course, in
things
the
that we can
brain. We
actually
have a
do quite
file in
well.
the brain. Yes.
Exactly. One person might be okay with sport, the other person might
Might
not
not.
be, but then
People
they might.
differ. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. And some people are creative and some people aren't. So we all have our little thing that we can actually obviously think about as well.
Yes.
So no, it's very interesting. So also you mentioned earlier, obviously about exercising. Do you tend to prefer exercising alone, or do you prefer like exercising with others, such as a team game or doing workouts or anything like that?
I like both. I like both. Like I like
Hmm.
exercising on my own to keep myself healthy and fit, and then I enjoy in a team that I can meet interesting people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. And do you find that being with others, does make you feel kind of like on the odd one out, or do you feel that you still kind of fit in
Well,
quickly?
in some ways, sometimes like I fit in with your group, which is one of the best things that have happened to me. And like for example, when I was doing Sean T and doing other mainstream aerobics, I felt like I was a bit of a klutz.
Hmm.
And for example, in football and basketball, I was definitely the odd one out at school.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's so tricky, isn't it? Because we really do feel like we are the odd one
And
out, and we
another
shouldn't have
thing,
to.
Mike, as
Yeah.
well, is we are often confused with intellectual disability because when I was growing up, people thought I was very weak or very slow. And even someone who I was doing employer based training with regarded me as slow and not capable of holding a job. And I should join the Special Olympics as an athlete. That was her
Oh
because
really?
I said I have dyspraxia to her. I had
Hmm.
suspected dyspraxia. If you did, she said to me, you'd be falling all over the place. And I said I have Asperger traits. You couldn't have Asperger's because you were very social.
Yeah.
Like I know I struggled a bit with attention and concentration as well because that was on my reports inattentive in class sometimes, but not always.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So, when did you start participating in sport or exercising regularly? Obviously, from what you're saying and what I'm hearing today, you're very active and doing a lot of sport. But when did you kind of participate on doing it like more, more frequently?
Well, I started earlier on at about 6 or 7. I'd be playing tennis out on the tarmac with my brother and enjoying it. And then I
Hmm.
developed into badminton when my father and mother brought me to my father's school to his gym. I have lovely memories of getting out the shuttlecock and the racket and probably running around the field on sports day and different things throughout primary school. And I just went from there. And apart from the sports, I didn't fit in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think when I look back at my school life, there were definitely things that I just didn't fit in with.
Yeah, I know.
Ranging from when I was doing like PE and gymnastics and all that kind of stuff. There's certain little bits that I could do, but a lot of that was just like, no, you haven't got a chance. It's not going to work. However, with tennis, I love tennis. Anything that I could hit the ball, I did really well. Sometimes I found the rules of tennis a bit hard to understand, but then once I got that, I cracked it. I still like to have a game now and again, and I can kick around a football, but tell me about anything to do with where people are standing and what their title and positions and so forth, I haven't got a clue. So I just like to have a bit of a kick about, and if I can do that, then it's still keeping moving and practicing and trying to get things right. I mean, I think with myself, with playing football, my brain says yes, this is where I want the ball to go, and my foot does something completely different. So it's how it is, isn't it? Really.
I noticed that with serving on the tennis court, I have to try when I'm serving to get the ball over the net to the thing, and then apart from that, I'm fine.
Yeah. Definitely, and and never hand to eye coordination really.
No, that's the one as well, the hand-eye coordination.
Oh, totally. So, people with dyspraxia are known to have poor gross motor skills, trouble with mobility, coordination. Have you ever been affected by these characteristic traits at all?
Well, all I know is that I never had great hand-eye coordination, and if I was rushing to get things done, or if I was in a rush going out the door, that's when my dyspraxia come out. I would either break something by accident, or I'd fall, or what would happen is I'd end up leaving stuff behind and know where I left them. Like, for example, when I was in a rush, like, I'd be all higgledy-piggledy, and I left behind one trip. I came back from whale watching, it was whale watching. I left a charger belonging to me behind, and I didn't realise till I got on the bus. So that's why you have to be careful not to rush.
Yes, definitely.
And I think a difficulty there I think there should be more done for dyspraxics in learning to drive. I think there should be more companies where maybe the learning instructor is a bit dyspraxic as well. I saw online there's one of those in England. So if there was those in place everywhere as well, because I find driving instructors don't understand it, or they've never heard of it, or they assume the person is very slow and is never going to be able to grasp it.
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
So, as I say, people do need to understand to a certain degree on how we can help people with dyspraxia completely.
Yes.
So do you find that exercising helps in regards to the physical difficulties to be had with being dyspraxic?
Yes, it helps me become more alert. It helps me become more happier in myself. It helps me feel healthier in myself.
Oh, that's great. And I find it's a great pick-me-up.
I love a good walk sometimes as well. And another thing I was into when I was little, I enjoyed mountaineering as well. I was on a summer camp, and I climbed the Minnon Heights in County Mayo, and I overlooked a cliff overlooking Kilbane, where my father came from, Achill Island, at sunset there. I'll never forget it. And I also climbed one of the mountains up in Loch Melvin, was it the Mourns or one of them?
That's crazy. How long did it take you to climb up the mountain?
Well, it took a couple of us. We were all in a group, and I suppose there were an hour and a half how long it took us all to, because we all did that as part of our outdoor pursuits.
Oh, brilliant. Sounds fantastic. I love walking. I think, I'm going to be doing a walk maybe next year. We'll see what happens to a place called Snowdon in Wales. So I'm hopefully going to be doing that. I've got a few walks planned as well, a few hills. So I think with walking, it's fantastic if you can walk up a hill and see that view. As long as you've got a nice clear sunny day at the top,
completely.
You can see for miles. I mean, with myself, definitely coming down the hill. I don't know if you find this, but coming down the hill is a bit more trickier than going up it.
Well, I thought coming up it on a bicycle was more trickier. I was fine with going down it.
Oh, definitely. I think it's because all your toes go to the end of your shoes, don't they? And you kind of have to be careful not to trip.
Well, another thing, Mike, as well, what I didn't like at school was sports day. No, I
Yeah,
liked the beginning of it. I participated and I remember running one of the races and I remember falling because I ran too fast and I just wasn't fit. And I also remember taking part in the long jump, but I couldn't jump as high.
yeah.
So I went home on a half day with my mother after the first couple of sports days because after lunch, yet again, they were looking for social skills and I didn't have any friends to do the three-legged race or
Oh,
different things after lunch. So I was on the side again. So when my mum was a teacher in the same school I was in, so we were better off having the half day and going home, calling it a day
yeah.
because I felt what was I doing here when I was a sore loser? I wasn't wanted.
Oh no, that's terrible, isn't
Yeah,
it? Um, but I mean, a three-legged race. I don't think
yeah,
I could think of anything a bit more, dyspraxic to do. Really,
yeah.
I'll probably be falling over all over the place. But yeah, it's something I don't think I actually remember doing that one in my sports day. But yeah, I didn't mind it too much on my sports day really, and I gave it a good shot. I knew there was going to be people that are better than me, but you know what? We just do what we do, and if we get there, then that's what we can
Exactly.
actually do. And even if we came last, it's still an
You still have a
achievement.
good time and you still enjoyed yourself.
Exactly.
And what's important to have real friends beside you, not people mocking you or skitting at you or making a laugh if you're calling you derogatory names.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you got your support, then I think that's half the battle.
Yes.
The other half is actually winning or even taking part. We don't. I think with being dyspraxic, we do take things to heart. I've mentioned this to other guests as well that we
Yeah.
do take it to heart, and we think the whole world's going to come crashing down if we don't get first, second, or third.
We're
But what
competitive
we
too
should,
sometimes. Like I
yeah,
showed that
yeah,
in Toastmasters when I was disqualified. Like, I had just the trouble keeping within the time frame. And Marie, one of the girls, just said to me, like, don't be so competitive, enjoy yourself.
yeah. Totally. So, and I think that's what you got to do. We've
Yeah.
just got to keep on telling ourselves, enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy the moment. Don't worry about what's going to happen. If it happens, if you do well, you do well. If you don't do so
You'll
well,
do well the
well,
next
that's it.
time.
Exactly. Yeah,
There'll be
that's
another
a
time
really good
and
way
your
of
turn will
looking at
come.
it. Oh, totally.
Yes.
So, just talking about like other little bits and pieces. So, can you ride a bike yourself?
I can.
Yeah.
I can ride a bike, but I haven't ridden one in years.
And do you find it's still tricky? I know that you talk about balance and so forth from injuries that you've had before, but do you
Yeah.
find that if you were to get on the bike again, then you'd be okay?
I'd be more mature now with regards road wise and everything because I've grown a lot. You see, I was probably more dyspraxic as a child than I was now. And
Yeah.
they now it will be different. Like I'd probably be more careful as well when balancing.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally. Totally. So you have got to be a bit more careful. And can you drive as well, or is it just the push
I'm
bike that
learning to
you?
drive an automatic, but it's been a journey for me.
Oh, okay.
The first
And
couple of
and
learning instructors I went to said I'd serious road problems, the first one, and don't be lying to me and all that kind of thing. He wasn't. Then the second lot, I thought I was doing well, and they said I'd never be able to drive, and they felt sorry for me. And even though I'd improved by the tenfold, I knew I'd improved and everything I had. And then I said, did you ever hear of dyspraxia? And did you ever hear of Asperger's? They said, I've heard of them, but I don't
yeah,
understand them. I don't know. I'll
yeah,
have to do a course on them.
yeah. I mean, if people are willing to do a course to know more about
Yeah,
dyspraxia or to get a better understanding, then
yeah.
that's fantastic because it needs to be done.
It needs to be done and physically as well. Reading out of the book is no good for anybody. I think they
No,
need to get themselves into physical real life settings and see
yeah,
how each person is affected, and then they learn from that person how they can teach them, how they can instruct them, how they can be with them.
oh, totally.
Yeah,
I mean, I tried to learn to drive. The first driving that I did was in a manual car. Um, when I was 16, I had a lot going on, 16 or 17, I think. And so, you think, okay, yeah, this is all good. And I struggled, with the gears because, there's a lot to do with learning to drive, isn't there? You got to use your gears, and you got to check what's around you, check your mirrors, look out for your signs, all the observation, and everything like that. So it's really quite tricky. So I did take lessons in an automatic, and for one thing, I never had to stop doing them. But it was a lot more easier in an automatic because
Yeah.
no gears.
And you'll get
So,
there eventually. You'll have your automatic eventually when you're working properly.
yeah, and one thing people have always said to me, which makes me laugh to this day, is that people go, "Oh well, if you learn an automatic, then you can only drive an automatic." Well, at the end of the day, that's exactly why we're doing it. We're making it easier, and there are a lot more automatic cars on the roads today,
Absolutely.
anyway. So, that's not an issue. Why would you learn an automatic just to go to a manual? I know that people say, if you learn in a manual, you can drive an automatic as well. But that's kind of what happens really. As a participant of my free online dyspraxic
Yes.
fitness workouts, what would you recommend about it to potential newcomers?
Well, potential newcomers, I would recommend that definitely it's a good outlet for fitness. It's a good outlet to meet interesting people where they won't be so alone and they'll meet people on their level and even make friends in the long run as well. And another recommendation is to if you can't do the original move, Mike has different alternatives for you that you can do them.
Oh, that's great. And I'd say I know that you've been with us, for Dyspraxic Fitness for quite some time now. So, it's we have fun, don't we? We have fun always. So, how do you feel after you've done, one of my free online, workouts?
Well, I feel very happy. I feel fit. I feel healthy. And I feel as if I'm ready to carry on where I left off.
Excellent. That's brilliant. Well, as I say, it's been absolutely lovely speaking to you today, Mary. Thank you so much for your time to come on and be a guest on the podcast. And as I say, have a lovely afternoon in whatever you do.
No pleasure. And thanks very much, Mike.
As of October 2021, I am following my dream to become a fully qualified neurodivergent fitness instructor. Please visit gofundme.com/Mike Nelson Fitness Journey for information on how you can support me. Thank you.